ndị be anyị kenere m unu. Asị m unu ụtụtụ ọma, asị m unu ehihie ọma, mgbede ọma site n'ebe isi wee na-esore anyị n'ụbọchị nketa na Eastern News 24. Asịrị ncha nne ya dịka eji na-eche ada agwụ agwụ, otu anyị kwuru otu akọ ya dịrịrị ise dịka o si dị. Anyị chọ ime ka unu mana na ihe a bụ Eastern News 24 ka anyị si were wetara unu ya bụ ozi dị oke mkpa gbasata maka ya bụ ife na-ada na-akpọtụ n'obodo anyị nọ n'ime ya and nwere onwe ndị Igbo na-azọ n'ilu akwụkwọ dịka anyị si kwuo unu nkwa na anyị ga na-agba mbọ na-wetara unu ya bụ update. N'ụbọchị nketa wetara unu ya bụ nnukwu ozi in international media ka anyị si wetara unu ya bụ ozi. Ife a bụ gbasata maka ihe na-eme n'obodo anyị nọ n'ime ya maka Maazị Nnamdi Kanu na ojije eji ya ana maka ihe na-eme na Eastern Region since eji ya. So mma achọkwa unu ga ya bụ ife anyị wetara unu gesia ya, unu atụsa ya bụ ozi ka o rute ụmụnne anyị ndị ọzọ aka ka anụkwa ife na-emenụ maka so ya n'osi ma gịnị ya kara ibe ya. Ngwa, over to you, sir.
That's why his reasoning and his attitude is so sectional. But for a Buhari that has ruled this country as a military head of state, that has worked in an organization whereby you cannot avoid interacting with people from other ethnic groups, like the military issue. So the thing is, one of the solutions is don't come to the table with greed. I'm a Yoruba man. I'm sorry, I have to say this. I'm a Yoruba man. But I think that other ethnic groups have been largely greedy, including the Yorubas, sincerely. The reason why I said so is that now there are three, except my secondary school teachers are wrong, right? There are three major ethnic groups. But if you look at it, it says that coup that happened in the, is it 1963 or something? 66. Now that particular coup, you will see that the Yorubas and the Fulanis have been so greedy that they've been rotating in among themselves. Now, Tinubu, if you use maybe 8 years, at the end of the day, if he's leaving, even before he leaves, their own Fulani are already hungry for the power, since it's their bad tribe. Immediately, their own Fulanis are leaving. The Yorubas are already roaring like lion, roaring like thunder to go the back. Then you ask yourself, what happens to the South? If you look at it now, sorry, sir, if you look at it now, in Nigeria, if you begin to rank it, the Igbos that are the third largest ethnic group are not well represented. The president number 1, vice president number 2, senate president number 3, speaker of that number 4.
Okay, all right. Let me come to the point now, because you're shaking your head. Is that disbelief or?
No, I'm shaking my head because each time we talk about this thing about the Southeast, I get very emotional because I'm a Southeasterner. But I get my emotion goes to the fact that everything anybody is saying about the federal government still does not resonate. It boils down to what do the Igbos themselves want. To have governors in the Southeast, that's one. We have governors who have been receiving money from the federal. Let me ask you. Why are they not developing the Southeast?
That's exactly where I'm coming to. The governors, the Southeasterners, the governors, you know, why haven't they? Because we see a situation whereby a governor comes out and says, look, I want to align with the center so my people can enjoy the benefits of democracy. We hear of that. But when it comes to development, is it a question of greed? When it comes to the agitation, when it comes to the release of Maazị Nnamdi Kanu, is it a situation of aligning with the center or a situation of greed? What exactly is playing out? Let's make sense of it.
Let me start by saying that power is not given, power is taken.
So you need to snatch it and run.
No, definitely.
Okay.
Power is not given. Let us align to that. Secondly, when you get the power, you either use it to the benefit of the people or you use it for your own selfish ends. What has continued to play out in the South is, other than the late Sabin Bakwe of blessed memory, who else in the Southeast as a governor has done anything meaningful in the Southeast? Mention one governor.
So basically, the Southeasterners that represent as governors do not even want development.
They are the problem. Now, when you say you want to align with the federal government, or you want to align with the power for the benefit of the people, in all these alignments, what development have they brought?
And that brings me back again to,
when Bakeman, the governor of Enugu State, and he said he wants to end sit at home, people should come out. If you don't come out, he will damage your shop. And I said, this man is not serious. He doesn't understand what is at play. Why is it that the Southeast governors are not sitting down? With all the senators, with all the representatives, with all the elders and chiefs and elders, why are they not sat down to ask themselves, what is the core problem?
Does that have anything to do with the disposition or the perceived disposition of the Igbo man as proudful?
Well, let's say, there is this saying about the Igbos, what is it? The Igbos have no king. But we have outlived that.
Have we?
Yes, we have. Because now the Igbos negotiate, they discuss. But unfortunately, in all these discussions, it's not about the survival of the ordinary Igbo man. It's about the survival of a few. You saw what Richards did in Imo State. Using the state's funds to build statues.
So are
what kind of stupidity
are you not saying,
as a governor?
Are you not saying, going by everything we have seen and the fact that those that are politicians within the Southeast don't seem to be representing the people right, if and probably when the state of Biafra is given, will we see anything different?
Those agitating for Biafra are they not Igbos? Those that eventually, if there is Biafra, that will oversee the affairs of Biafra, are they going to talk people from the moon?
Those governing the Southeast are Igbos.
Those governing the Southeast right now are Igbos. Charity begins from home. So for me, as an Igbo man, let me put it clearly, for me as an Igbo man, it's not about Biafra.
Okay.
It's about the development of the South. So that brings me to this question. Let me finish. Few years back, I belong to an organization known as Imo Network Group.
Okay.
We went to Imo to visit Nnamdi Kanu'S just before his house was sacked and all of that. And we were very clear. I as an Igbo man, I believe that if the Southeasterners will come together and adopt what I call 24 years development program.
Okay.
Which was what we gave to him. We said, like Dr. Moshara said, we asked him, let us take the whole of IPOP and roll over ABGA.
Okay.
And have ABGA as a party for the Southeast.
Okay.
You know what would have happened? What would have happened is that by now we're probably have about 7 states under ABGA.
Okay.
And that gives them the strength to negotiate. And that gives the Igbo man the strength to come to the federal and say, this is what we want.
Exactly.
No, look at Lagos State. Let's go back to the 2 former governors, Fashola and Ambode. They set the standard for the development of the state. Go back to the Southeast. What do you have in Imo State? Please. What do you have in Enugu State? Please. I'm coming. I'm having talk. Let me finish. Now, when Mba came out and said, stop Monday sit at home, he did provide security for those he's asking to come out.
Oh, yes, he did.
How come that when the unknown government will come out to strike, we will not see the presence of security? What is going on? It simply shows you that it's either the government themselves are the beneficiary of this sit at home, or the local chiefs.
Okay, please, you said something about negotiation, that Igbo should negotiate. You also said that power is not given, that it is taken. I have 2 questions for you. One, did Jonathan take power, or was it given to him? That is one. 2, when you talk about, the only thing that these problems are layered, clearly the state governments have their responsibilities, which they have failed according to you. A lot of people will agree with you. But on the other side, on the other hand, don't you think that the federal government is also driving the marginalization? This present administration is constructing a Lagos-Calabar coastal highway, flag death under construction. The same government is constructing a Badagry-Sokoto highway, flag death under construction. These 2 super highways cut across more than 18 states of the federation. Buhari built rail lines across the length and breadth of this country. South has got only 50 stretches 40 kilometers. Do you hold the governors responsible for not building a coastal highway that didn't cut through the southeast? A super highway that didn't cut through the southeast from Badagry to Sokoto? Is it the problem of the governors or is it a national problem? I don't even want to talk about appeals in the commanding heights, both under Buhari and this present administration, where the southeast has been clearly excluded.
Mr. Kolo, personally, I do not believe in this federal government as an Igbo man. I will not hold federal government responsible for what's happening in the southeast. I will hold my governors responsible. If the federal government has decided not to build rail lines in the southeast, why are your governors not coming together to build rail lines connecting the entire southeast?
Rail lines were only decentralized just about a year ago.
It doesn't matter. Since a year ago, what have they done?
How many states have come down in the southeast?
Even the road network in the southeast, how many of them are working?
I say the problems are layered.
No, how many of them are working? When you can take a trip to the southeast,
How many federal roads in the southeast are working?
you see, when we had problems with federal roads in Lagos, I remember the governors then fixed the roads and sent the bill to the federal government. The federal government paid back. It doesn't matter. A debt is a debt. Why are the southeast governors not thinking out of the box? Why are they not thinking out of the box?
And that will bring me to this question, Prince Chilaka. You know, we've been talking about the state governments or the people in the southeast, the governors in the southeast not doing what they ought to have done for their people. And I will now ask, who is really benefiting from the insecurity in the southeast? Because, for example, we also heard that during the time of Nnamdi Kanu'S broadcast, he made mention of how the southeasterners, how the big wigs in the southeast are actually part of the people, part of the challenge, the problems that they're having. And that is what Powerful talked to be how politicians of the southeast turn their back, you know, towards his release or his freedom. Now, we have someone back coming up to say, sit at home in the southeast must happen. Whereas Nnamdi Kanu have said, there's no more sit at home. Powerful also happens to be the IPOB spokesperson, says, we are not the ones giving the sit at home order because we cannot kill the people that we are agitating freedom for. They have also pointed out saying that some people are benefiting from the sit at home order and the unrest in the southeast. So, Mr. or Prince Chilaka, I will ask you, you're smiling already, who are the benefactors or who are the people benefiting from the sit-at-home or the unrest in the southeast?
The governors are beneficiaries, every one of them. You cannot deny it.
Even the ones saying that it's
you know that every month they collect security vote. Also, there's a particular amount that is given to states that are troubled in terms of security. Why are they applying those funds? The political class in the southeast are responsible for the unrest in the southeast. Because when it is time for election, they bring out guns and hand over to their thugs. You don't get to collect it back after the elections. What is happening in the Northeast today, where the high started, is the political class. You cannot in any way exonerate the political class for what is happening. Is it the ordinary poor man on the street trying to survive by the day? Is it the one that is financing such madness?
Because
So you have the kind of money to do that?
well, big questions. But because of time, let's quickly touch on the involvement of another individual who has declared Biafra in exile. I'm talking about Simon Ekpa. His name was mentioned not too long ago by my colleague here. Simon Ekpa has consistently called for agitation in the southeast, even when Nnamdi Kanu has dissociated himself from some of the agitation in the southeast. Nigerians, have said, look, and then words that one can consider derogatory. are constantly being put out on the different media that he uses. And Nigerians have said, look, bring this person home. Now, I do understand that we may not have extradition treaty with the Finnish government. But what is, according to you now, what do you think his interests are? Some have even said that he may be sponsored by certain individuals in government to ensure that insecurity persists in the southeast, as that will affect elections. Because we see cases where elections are to be held, elections that will ordinarily put people in power, help them decide on who will govern or their person of interest be in power, and you say people must not come out to vote. Is that in the interest of the people?
Okay, let me quickly touch on a question he asked that, go ahead, who is benefiting from this sit at home in the southeast? Number one, the non-state actors. You see, this sit at home, to my mind, started as a solidarity that, oh, why would you arrest Nnamdi Kanu? Is it because he is vocal? Is it because he wants something good for his people? If that be the case, we will sit at home every Monday to express our interest. So to express our dissatisfaction. So it started as a solidarity movement. But then these non-state actors began to realize that, so we can truly declare sit at home. So that means that we have so much power. And they started profiting from it, and by the way of profiting from it, it came to stay. If you ask me again that, who is profiting from it? I can say the federal government. You ask me how? The federal government is largely dominated by the Yorubas and the Hausa Fulanis, right? Now, if the Yorubas and Fulanis want to keep rotating power among themselves, number one, if there's no peace in your area, it helps them. Number two, if you are not as financially stable as you should be, it helps them. So if they don't want you in power and your source of wealth, you are declaring sit at home to kind of like, you say, okay, people should sit at home. So those at the federal level, those at the federal level that starts to benefit from it will keep it like that, but they will just manage the situation in such a way that it doesn't lead to a total breakdown of law and order or threaten the corporate existence of Nigeria. I'll give an example. The case of bandits, for instance, the bandits are there, they are operating, but when they are going overboard and it begins to kind of like be like it wants to threaten the corporate existence of Nigeria, government will react. But after a while, government will pipe down. Why don't you react freely to nip it in the bud freely? So the federal government itself, that is largely dominated by the Yorubas and the Hausa Fulanis, the lack of peace, the lack of coherence, if you look at it, is to their own benefit. If there's peace in the southeast, you will think, you want to come up with a united something, or you want to align with one political party or form an alliance. But if there is no peace, then that will be difficult to say. And now there are like 4 different kind of political voices, or I don't want to say leadership voices. There are 4 kind of factions that you can either align with 1 or 2 or 3 or all. Number 1, that of Nnamdi Kanu. Because Nnamdi Kanu has stayed long in detention, is beginning to lose steam to some extent. Simon Ekpa, which also have his own followers. You have Peter Obi, who is being seen as the political leader now of the southeast. So you not just to imagine that, okay, this southeast, where do we really go? You see people that they are supporting Nnamdi Kanu, that okay, free Nnamdi Kanu, we want Biafra. You also see those people during the election, they will say, oh, we want to go and vote for Peter Obi. You will see the same people will say, why should you extradite Simon Ekpa? So there is confusion all over the place, except for the Igbo ruling elite that are profiting from the corporate existence of Nigeria, that the corporate of an Igbo man that has built businesses, for instance, all Jews of Kano, for instance, we don't pray that Nigeria should disintegrate. Because why? He has built businesses across the length and breadth of Nigeria. So the Biafra agitation is mainly for the Tanakawas, the Mekunus, the have-nots, or the middle class of the southeast. But the people that are feeling the pain, or the people that can make that happen, they don't want it to happen because it will affect them, it will affect their interest. And that's why you see that Nnamdi Kanu is not being released. Because they think that, oh, the people that can fight for him, people that can speak on his behalf, just as the Yoruba kings, the Yoruba political elite spoke in favor of Sunday Igboho. Sometimes, when we walk through life, when we pass through life, if you have not passed through life to such an extent that you need some people to speak for you apart from yourself, then you haven't passed through life. But when you get to that stage, if you don't have somebody to speak for you, there will be a problem. One of the problems Nnamdi Kanu is facing is not because he has committed any crime that has ever been committed in Nigeria before. Secession in Nigeria started way back in the 1960s during the days of Azikadakaburu. So Nnamdi Kanu is not new. This Odumegwu Ojukwu, he did it, Sunday Igboho and a rest of others. But the truth is, those that can advocate for his release right now are people that are benefiting from. You think that they are divided. When these people, when they meet with the president, they are beginning saying, oh,
But the likes of the late Iwanyan who advocated, people like that spoke out. These are people like that as well.
Yes, the late Iwanyan is respected. But those that can speak now, right now, are the people that have the political power right now.
The governors on the southeast have gone to see the president in this regard. Do you think it's just a show off?
I think there's no serious dimension to it, in the sense that, for instance, when the president was campaigning and he went to the southeast, where was the point of dialogue of the southeast people? Okay, Buhari marginalized. Buhari, okay, you want to say unjustly detained Nnamdi Kanu. It's okay. But when the Minoko was campaigning, what was the Igbo's point of negotiation as an ethnic group? The Igbo leaders, the Okus of Duma, a lot of them, what was their point of negotiation with, let's say, Peter Obi is their own, with Atiku Abubakar and the continued detention of Nnamdi Kanu? Of course, you cannot exclude the leadership structure in the country. For instance, even the Igbos are being given a fair opportunity to be president. One, it will drive this tension. Two, no matter how long it takes, an Igbo man will come there and also release his own people.
But Dr.
I need to say this. Just as Buhari went on after Sunday Igboho, Bola Ahmed Tinubu came there, he piped down. So if Buhari went after Nnamdi Kanu, Bola Ahmed Tinubu has failed to release him. If there is no greed in the political structure of Nigeria,
no ano ge ifa nka tie dun iru akwụna ụbọchị uruchi nke taa ka ife were ikwu gbasata maka ya bụ ife drop ọra ife ahiche n'ụdị nke gị n'ibu akwụkwọ na Eastern News 24 ọzọ dị ka ibe ya bụ aịsị unu darụli nnenu nke ịbụa na n'Igbo ya dị mma na n'Igbo ya dị ka echi na-eche ada agwụ ọgwụ nwanne ka emesịa na ụmụnne m